he's not well at the moment, just been through major surgery. And g'day, Dad.
I know two people that haven't got it, and I say two people that haven't got it because one's pregnant and one's trying to get pregnant through IVF. So there are things, there are side effects like that which I didn't know about. But the IVF is my niece. She's trying to get pregnant at the moment, and haven't seen her for months, but she's trying to get pregnant, and it's hard because. She's also a nurse too.
Yeah. But that would have been, in saying that would have been a direction or from a health professional to say that you can't. So she's got medical reasons why she can't go and do it. So we're not being obviously critical of people that have medical reasons why they can't go and get it. But if you're an anti-vaxxer, struth.
There is also someone down at the actually runs the local bakery down actually in the Woolies just near the footy ground.
That one. Yep.
And she wears a badge. I am exempt. Like, I don't know. Like maybe you can make those badges up. I'm not saying she has, but people get there and sort of get that idea and sort of go, "Oh, I'm exempt from this." Well, That's where it's sort of
that mentality. You think?
Yeah, the buffhead mentality of people, and
well, as you said off air earlier when you walked in, are they Karens, Sharons, Darrens
or Gavins
or removalists.
Well, I think it was you, Craig, didn't you say that this strain's the Sydney strain?
Well, someone's calling it the Sydney strain.
Yeah, I'd prefer to refer it to as the removalist strain because those two flogs.
Three of them.
There was three of them in the truck.
And shame.
Oh, absolutely! Please name and shame them. They were sitting. I don't know whether they were still in Victoria or whether they were in South Australia, but apparently they were at a major truck stop, like a BP kind of arrangement, and the driver, I'll call him King Flog, so King Flog gets the message, you've tested positive. So they all look at each other, and I wasn't there obviously, so I might be embellishing, but they look at each other and they almost paper, rock, scissors for who's going to go in to get Smoko, and then the youngest goes, oh well, I'll go in because I haven't tested positive. Mate, you've been sitting next to King Flog for the last 4 days. What do you reckon?
Now, if for some reason, Craig, they happen to say, for instance, the name and shame, like, look, Adam Kelly from Tookarook has done the wrong thing. He's breached his quarantine. You, me and Sussa just go around and just go...
I'd be expected to be flogged and then dobbed in.
Well, I think...
Are we going to talk about football?
We've been waiting for Neil to arrive with the coffee.
Exactly. Well, we've been waiting for this great man here, the man, the myth, the legend. It's so needy. Mate, you've got no idea. Well, that is a Toe Punt football show, and when I say football show, it is all about football here at the Bendigo Bank Studios live in Mornington. It was round 14 last week. I do believe... No, it wasn't. Sorry, I'm looking at Division 2. It is Division 1 that we're doing. Round 13 last week. Michael Voss, if you've got it up, please, if you can just... go through the results quickly.
Mount Eliza winning a very close game. They were behind most of the day actually, but they got the job done in the last 20 seconds, I believe, of the game starts.
15 seconds it was.
Was it Sam Gill who kicked the goal?
Pretty sure it was. So they were down for the count and sprang back into action. So great result for the Redlegs. Yeah,
2-point victory it was, 8-6-54 to 17-52. Dramana, well, they were heading into some good form heading into today, 18-13-121, but unfortunately today is not to be. Pines 11-5-71. This is an interesting result. Now, I've got to give credit to Edafale here. Edafale led YCW at YCW for quite a portion of the game. YCW did have 9 more scoring shots, but only won by the 9 points. So Edafale Aspendale really did throw it up to them. With, as we heard from Ben Walker a few weeks ago, they're playing a lot of kids. This is good for their development. They've obviously had a fair crack and they very nearly pulled it off. 9-14-68 the Stone Cats, 9-5-59 Edafale Aspendale.
There was actually a Vossy, just to stop you there, there was actually a good ride-up in by an old friend, an old foe of the show and of the match of the day, thanks to TV Magic Broads Cowburn in the Southern Peninsula News Group, well, in Mornington Peninsula News Group, but good write-up about how close EDS got.
They got especially close. Well, I did.
No, I like that.
Rosebud 9-5-59, beaten by Bomb Beach 21-12. 138, and the other game was Frankston Bombers 13-13-91, Red Hill 279. Did this game stop early? Did they call the game off due to fog late on? Or was that
that was under 19.
That was the 19s, okay.
So that was, so it was just, it was halted, obviously. It was put off, and then everything started later as a result. I first thought that the game got either moved or cancelled, because then it would have a knock-on effect. But no, it just got held off for a sec.
Now, the ladder in Division 1 sees YCW on top, 9 wins, a loss and a draw on 38 points. Bomb Beach on 36 now. Mount Eliza with, well, as I said, 15 seconds to go. They were sitting in 4th spot. They've ended up in 3rd due to that goal. This is how close this top 4 is. 34 points to Mount Eliza, 32 to Frankston Bombers, 20 points to Dramana, then Rosebud on 20, Soretto 16, Red Hill 12, Pines on 8, and Edithvale Aspendale on 4. Boys, just a little point of note on the ladder too. I just want to mention this just while I think of it. Bomb Beach, the 2 games they missed were Mount Eliza and YCW. Next week, if we get locked down again next week, they missed the return game against Frankston Bombers. So all of a sudden, the three of the top 4, they've avoided. It's not through any fault of their own. It's just the way it is. Good morning, Neil Craig.
Good morning, Vossy. How are you?
I've been better, but no, look, I'm better for being around you blokes, that's for sure.
Oh, mate, there you go.
Just hot off the press, we have just been updated. We have 19 new cases in Victoria, so that is absolute pus. Very, very disappointing. So make sure you do the right thing. We can't have those kinds of numbers because I can't see this ending anytime soon. Sorry, Neil, but can't see this ending anytime soon if we get those kinds of numbers.
No, it doesn't look great, does it? At 5 days, it was probably never going to be 5 days.
No, it hasn't been. It's consistently been 5 days, 7 days, 2 weeks. That's never is what it states.
Well, just be what happened on halftime on the Foxtel coverage last night of the footy. They interviewed Charlie Rewald, Jack's brother. Charlie flew up to Queensland on Thursday, went out for a coffee with him, which I'm sure is breaching some sort of bubble. Went into the room, probably breaching some sort of bubble again. Either that or just say, "Oh, look, I'm exempt because I'm sleeping with an AFL footballer." Do that, and you'll get on in the world. You absolutely will get on, sus.
If you're an AFL footballer, you've got a special badge or something at the moment to do whatever the F you want.
So who would you pick, Vossy? You had to pick an AFL footballer to sleep with.
Which one?
Which one? There must be one you fancy.
He's just the entire Hawthorn Football Club. He just
Gee whiz.
Look, that's a very interesting question.
Look at him, he's got him a bit flustered.
I know, he's got a bit of movement. Little Vossy's getting a bit moved.
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know.
But that was rhetorical. You didn't have to answer it. Well, to talk about what 5.0 might look like in the MPNFL and all the other competitions that this great league is responsible for, as in AFL Southeast, joining us on the line now, a very appreciative Punt football show, Will Dakis, the Regional General Manager. Mate, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen. Another beautiful day in lockdown.
Yeah, it's just, look, it just keeps happening, doesn't it, to us, mate, and puts the pressure on your great team and personally yourself, mate. You've just moved down to the beautiful peninsula and you can't actually go out and enjoy it, mate, because we're all locked up. But plus, obviously the news came in late-ish, wasn't it, I think, Neil? Late-ish on Thursday. It would have been panic stations. Did you do anything that night or did you wait until the following day?
Yeah, so we moved pretty quickly that night. I mean, it all came very quickly, not just for us, but for the whole state.
Exactly.
We had our advisory meeting on Tuesday evening, which is our Southeast advisory team, and the potential of a lockdown wasn't even on the radar at that point. But when Thursday sort of kicked around, there was a bit of a sense around the office that we've all seen this story before, we know where it's heading, and then preparations will start being put in place for what we thought was likely to be a lockdown, and then ultimately what is now a lockdown for another 5 days.
So the advisory committee got together on the Tuesday. There was no talk. No one had any insight into what might be happening. Do you think that was as a result of what was happening in New South Wales? We got a little bit complacent, and then all of a sudden, bang, we're here.
Yeah, correct. So we certainly discussed COVID, but it was probably more a bit focused on what our finals might look like, and preparing for that. We discussed, what the situation that's going on in Sydney, but just had no inkling that it was going to hit us so quickly. But we've seen in the past when sort of COVID has hit, the state government here is generally taking a bit more of a cautious approach, and there's been a couple of days where it's been lingering before we shut down, but it just went bang this time, and down we were pretty quickly.
So the next 24 hours, or I suppose the next 12 from Thursday night, just bring us through what took place. Yeah,
so primarily it's the main communications out to clubs and leagues, so they all get an understanding of what's happening. So that's key, reaching out to all our clubs, reaching out to all our leagues, make sure they understand what this impact will be when the season will turn, in the sense of, are we moving games, are the fixturing changing? So providing that clear clarity and certainty as to what the rest of the season will look like whenever we get out of this lockdown. So I think that was the key message that our team tried to get out there, to go, okay, this round that we've lost this weekend will resume as originally fixtured whenever we can, whenever we're allowed to.
Yeah, so it's a rolling fixture at the moment. So obviously we missed this round, which was round 14, Division 1, round 15 in Division 2. It's looking like, and Sus mentioned off air, that it's going to be a race to the end now.
Correct, yeah. So, ideally we get back next weekend. Whether or not that actually happens, I heard off the top before that, we've all sort of seen how this plays out. We're not sure if it's going to be 5 days, if it's going to be 2 weeks.
Exactly.
It's really just a wait and see at the moment.
In your heart of hearts, mate, knowing that obviously you're not a health professional, but anything in your heart of hearts, you reckon will be locked up? It's it's a loaded question, mate, and I apologise, but I feel like I have to ask it. You think this is going to roll on? 20 cases, 19 cases, as I mentioned this morning. The likelihood.
Yeah, look, it's not looking great. The 20 cases is a bit of a concern. I'm still hopeful that the quicker that we've gone to lockdown this time means that we can get out a bit quicker.
Yep.
As I mentioned before, sort of last time, if we all remember, not that long ago in June, we sort of had about 3 or 4 days where there was cases popping up in Victoria before we went into lockdown, which ultimately ended a 3-week lockdown. So hopeful that this quick lockdown that we've gone into now can nip it in the bud and get it going. But the big concern is what it looks like on the other end. Do we come out to as we were last week, or do we come out restricted in what we're allowed to do? Because that naturally has an impact on our ability to return to play, certainly in the NPNFL.
No, Will, it's Peter Sussy. Just on the clubs and the 22 clubs, they've already made the resolution that they're going to see out the year and carry on the dates. That's correct, is it? That'll still stand?
Yeah, correct. So we'll still schedule our grand finals for the weekend. For Div 2, that would be the weekend of the 4th, and for Div 1 the weekend after.
Yep. So, and that's what I mentioned to the guys. It's a potential race to the end. So, if you're in contention for the finals, then it's
hot. Yep. Hot.
Yeah, and we had some really healthy discussions with the clubs around this during the last lockdown around what our season looked like. And I think the overriding sort of thought was that we just don't know when we'll be locked down, when we won't be. So we can look at pushing things back, but as we've now seen with this week, it can hit so quickly that we just can't keep pushing back into October, November to get a full season in. We've got to have a bit of certainty around when we're actually going to finish.
So, Will, what was the feedback with the if we had to go back to no crowds? What was the feedback from the clubs with the no crowd situation, and would that be tolerated? Would that be considered again? I guess.
Yeah, it would be a great question for the clubs. Certainly for the one round that we did have no crowds, I think there was an understanding from clubs that coming out of that lockdown, that regional Victoria had crowds of 1,000 for that week that we had no crowds. Yeah. So there was a bit of an understanding that, look, we just need to suck this up for 1 week and then we'll get a crowd of at least 1,000 next week. This one's going to probably be a little bit different, and I'll certainly have that discussion with clubs over the next few days once we get a bit of an understanding of what the backside of this actually looks like, and whether or not there is the appetite to return to play without crowds again. There's naturally impacts across the board, not just financial impacts, but not playing has mental health impacts on all our players. We've got a lot of volunteers that get impacted as well. So there's a range of different stakeholders we need to consider return without a crowd.
Well, I know from what lockdown, mate, a few weeks ago, 4.0, there were players not necessarily threatening, but there was talks around clubs, and I know, Neil, you had a few of the boys saying that, you know, if this continues, we just have to pull the pin from the 2021 competition. I consider it to be, and obviously there was a decision made to play with no crowds, and like Vossy just insinuated to me, no crowds, just a lot of people walking dogs. That obviously, if it was to continue to go, you know, through the week, and then we can play with no crowds, that would surely be the option taken by all clubs involved again.
To play without crowds?
Yeah, to play without crowds. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. And I think there's an understanding as well from clubs that we're not just talking about our paid players. We have a huge range, you know, all our netballers,
exactly,
all our reserve players, under 19s. There's a lot of people that, you know, stem and play from our competitions that need to be considered around their desires around returning to play as well, not just the players that receive some money from us, or from clubs, I should say.
Well, if you get a hypothetical situation, you get to the last round and we come back. We get so we're round 17 of Division 1, round 18 of Division 2. You come back. You come back on that week. What if you're a club that can't make the finals and you're stopping and starting? This will be like third or fourth time you stop and start for the year. You're an electrician, you're a roof tiler, whatever the job is, and you need your body in working order to work. What incentive really is there for the players to sort of get there and go, well, I haven't trained for a month. I might go out and do a knee or do a hammy. Like it's very clouded, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a fair point you raised for teams that perhaps if you get to that stage aren't going to be in finals contention, and so for all intents and purposes are playing in dead rubber. We do have provisions within our functional framework around what we do in a situation where multiple rounds have missed. So in that hypothetical, we'll be looking at, well, essentially a month or so of lockdown, or probably a little bit less, but 3 or 4 weeks. So we have some requirements under our framework around returning to play and what that would look like if the more weeks are lost, primarily around allowing enough time for players to get back to train, to get up a bit of fitness, so we're not just throwing players out there after 3 weeks of sitting at home. So, but it's absolutely a very valid question, and it'll have to be a discussion we'd have with those clubs that wouldn't be playing finals as to what their intentions. We'd need to look at the fixture to ensure that, you know, any games impacted, they're not going to be games that involve teams that are playing for finals, but certainly a discussion we can have with those clubs.
And on that, Will, I suppose we're coming to the end of the year. I suppose planning's in the pipe works for next year, 2022.
Oh.
Is there anything that we could see as major change that might see come about?
Well, I understand there's obviously a bit of chatter around promotion and relegation. I think that probably goes more toward competition structure, though, particularly around, you know, how many teams you have in Div 1 versus Div 2. Happy to have that discussion with the clubs as to what they would prefer their competition structure to be. Obviously, we need to consider around, you know, obviously in Div 1 at the moment with the way it's set up, you get to play everyone twice, not this year because of COVID. But happy to have that discussion. You know, what competition structure looks like in 2022. We haven't really put the thought and time to it at this stage.
No, there is a talk, and I'll call it under the radar at the moment, that there's a couple of people that would suggest that a 10 club first division and an 8 club second division might be a chance.
Yeah, so that certainly hasn't been under consideration from AFL South East at the moment. But again, happy to have that conversation with club presidents if there is a desire from the clubs. We want to ensure that the clubs are controlling their league, so to speak, so they, you know, can control their destiny on what they want their competition structure to look like. But there hasn't been any consideration from an AFL South East point of view as to that potential at this stage.
No, that's good. Good. We've got planning in place and we're looking after the future.
He
just throws a couple little curly ones.
Oh no, he does, and then he sits back.
I don't know much, but
he doesn't tell us. Will, just so you know, mate, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything to us. No. He just comes out with these little, these little turn rocks.
When you work in a cemetery and you have when you work in a cemetery and you have a club president tap you on the back of the shoulder, that's Yep. So I'm just saying.
And a live one.
Yeah, live.
And a live one.
Not a past president.
Good Lord, man.
Hold it. No, he was alive. Yes.
We might have to give Suss a new nickname. Give him the nickname of the removalist because he's come in, he's lit the fire, and then he's left, just like these removalists have done.
Oh, no.
Don't call me that, Vossy. Don't call me that.
Well, what I was going to say, mate, is probably next year, 2022, might look like starting in February and finishing in December, just to allow for the lockdowns that might be happening.
Well, I'll give Cricket Australia a call. Don't need the ovals for a little bit longer, guys.
Mate, I know you've had a huge impact in the short term, in the short time that you've been there, so anything is possible.
That even might be beyond me.
I think it might be. Well, Will Dakis, mate, thanks so much for joining us this morning on the Punt Football Show. Good luck for what is going to be coming in the coming days. I know the team is well equipped for everything that's going to get thrown at it. We really appreciate your time this morning here on the Punt Football Show.
No worries, gentlemen. Enjoy your day.
Will Dakis, the Regional General Manager of AFL South East, an absolute pleasure for him to spend a little time with us this morning. We might throw to a quick break and come back with more of the Division 1 Punt Football Show.
Do you feel good about your bank? Because there is a bank you can feel good about. They share their profits to fund big community projects, small community clubs and vital emergency services. They've given $250 million to help Australian communities thrive. They have all the products and tech you expect from a big bank, with service you don't. It's Bendigo Bank. Feel good about who you bank with. Try Bendigo. Search bendigobank.com.au or search Bendigo Bank near me.
Discover the fresh new look at Woolworths Coringal Hub. We're excited to showcase our new fresh food market bursting with delicious fruit and veg. Plus, check out our new in-store bakery. Head down to the new look Woolworths Coringal Hub today. Station sponsor.
Established in 1988, Progress Signs has been servicing the local community for 30 years. Located on the Mornington Peninsula, they are the #1 destination for all your signage needs, specialising in a variety of signage from vehicles to shop fronts, occasional and corporate events, short-term, long-term and everything in between. If it's signs you need, be it large or small, Progress Signs is the place to call. Available 24/7 at progress-signs.com.au or call the team on 5975 9188. Thinking signs? Think Progress Signs. A station sponsor.
Do you have TV antenna or reception issues? Need to wall mount your TV or want extra TV or data points? Then talk to TV Magic, Frankston and the Peninsula. TV Magic are your local TV and antenna specialists. We look after everything. TV, home theatre, satellite, plus all electrical work. Visit us at tvmagic.com.au or contact Clint for a free quote on 0484 395 555. TV Magic. We make all your TV problems disappear. A station sponsor.
And welcome back to the Punt Football Show here live from the Bendigo Bank studios. Just talking off air, we need to clarify a couple of things. Sus, your facts were shit. Can you
It's just my AstraZeneca joke.
Did you get one recently?
Just one of your clotses. Just
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's actually a
Floated past the brain.
a 12.
eyes flattered.
So what's been suggested to me is a 12-team First Division and a 10-team Second Division.
So just bring us. So how does that look at the end of 2021?
Is that the two top-placed Division 2 teams go up and no one comes down?
Wow.
Yeah, that president came up to me. I'm just saying.
So you would expect that the two clubs playing off in the grand final will be relegated up.
Oh, I'm not sure, but
Well,
yeah, there was a theory of that thought.
if the ladder, let's say the Division 2 ladder stays the way it is,
Yep.
ish.
Yeah. Neil,
Those two teams, whoever they are both Divi 1 ready.
Yep.
Neil,
Correct.
They are. Why?
Why? You're a coach.
I don't know. I agree with you, but what does that mean for Div 2?
Means you got a chance.
Yeah, and that each team,
That's what it
is
means.
best placed.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yep.
I'm with you.
Neil,
Yes.
you're a coach.
Yes. Yep.
Whoa! Sandra Sully with a late news.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do it.
Hypothetically speaking, now obviously Edafale are on the bottom in Division 1, for instance, at the moment. So if that's the case, if you take the ladder right now, Edafale stays up, the two top sides come up. If you were Edafale, would you want to stay In a league where you're not competitive, or go down to a league where you are competitive?
That's a very good point.
It is a very good point.
And look at Mornington, the growth they've had this year with players coming in and that sort of stuff, and they've been allowed to develop and grow, and the under-19s are looking good. That's
exactly. Which I never understood the disappointment from being relegated, because I think it's a chance for teams